This is River City Hardball, presented by D-Bat Jacksonville. Here's your host, Andrew Gibson.
Lodise in the air, fly ball, right field, the ball is a walk-off grand slam. Alex Lodise hits one, hits off with a grand slam. He hits for the cycle. Noles win, Noles win.
And with that, we welcome you to River City Hardball. It's the March edition here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. I'm your host, Andrew Gibson. That's the call of the Florida State Radio Baseball. That was Eric Llewellyn this week. Tuesday night, Alex Lodise from Bartram Trail High School, and of course, right here at UNF, and he's starring now at Florida State. I mean, an incredible moment for Alex Lodise, hitting a walk-off grand slam to complete the cycle. And it's our pleasure to welcome Alex on the show right now as we lead off River City Hardball. Alex, thanks so much for joining us, man. I mean, how do you put into words what happened the other night?
I was like speechless, honestly. I used to say all the time that hitting the homer in Omaha on Father's Day was like the greatest thing I've done. But I think that definitely topped it. It was just awesome because I had so much family there, and it was nice being back home. And after the game, I went over to the railing, and they were just all just yelling. I was like, holy, there's so many of them. But in a few words, I mean, that was incredible. That was amazing, honestly. I never thought I'd be able to do that. And when I got that chance in the last inning, I was just trying to put the ball in play. So the fact that I hit a homer was even better.
Alex, what do you remember about the at-bat? I mean, take us back to the at-bat in the ninth inning. You hit the walk-off grand slam against the Gators to complete the cycle. Do you remember the pitch? Take us back to the at-bat.
Yeah, I mean, it was one pitch, and they brought in the left fielder to be a fifth infielder. So they had 5 infielders, and the dude was throwing like 95. So I was just telling myself to be on time for a fastball and try to put it in play and don't let it get to 2 strikes, because in that moment, a strikeout is like the worst thing you can do. And he just threw a slider right down the middle, first pitch, and I just hammered it.
So you were looking fastball, and you got a slider, but you were still ready for it.
I always am looking, like trying to, what gets me almost like locked in and be more patient, but more focused on the pitch selection is when I'm on time for a fastball. It kind of like gives me, and I just adjust to any breaking pitch. It just gives me more like time. I don't feel rushed in the box. Like I know, like if he tries to sneak one by me, I can get my hands to it, and I can keep my hands back if he throws me a slider. So,
did you know that you got all of that one when you hit it? Because your reaction pretty much told us that. I think you had a pretty good idea that was gone.
I knew immediately when I hit it. I knew I got it good. I knew I got it in the air. It was just whether it was going to be a wall scraper or if it was really going to get out of there. Cause that's a deep park, and especially a right field, it's a high wall and it's like 365 out there. And I was like, dang, that really didn't go as far as I thought it was going to. But yeah, I knew it when I hit it.
We're catching up with Florida State shortstop Alex Lodise. Hit a walk-off grand slam to complete the cycle here in Jacksonville on Tuesday night to beat the arch-rival Gators. Alex from Bartram Trail High School also played at UNF. Alex, I mean, this has gone crazy. MLB has picked up this story about your walk-off grand slam. It's been all over the place. There's been a lot of research done. I don't think anybody has ever done this. I don't think anybody has ever hit a walk-off grand slam to complete the cycle. Were you aware of that, and how does that resonate with you, knowing that you made history here in Jacksonville on Tuesday night?
Yeah, that honestly just was even crazier. I didn't know it had never been done. I just had assumed like, oh, I'm sure someone's ended the cycle with a grand slam or blocked it off even. And they just, when I was doing my media at the end, they were like, I don't think that's ever been done before. I was like, wait, really? So It's honestly, it was just awesome. Like that I didn't know. And for it to be something that I've only done is it's crazy. When you put together all of the not necessarily scenarios, but things that were going on in Jacksonville against the Gators in the ninth, bases loaded, could have walked it off for the cycle. Like it all lined up in one at bat for that to happen.
Alex, what's the hardest part of completing the cycle? Most people will say the triple because, oftentimes you have to have one bang off the wall and kick into the corner to get around for a triple. But from your perspective, as someone that just did it this week, what's the hardest part of getting a cycle?
I would say triple for me. I pretty sure my freshman year I had a couple games where I had a single double and a homer. I think the triple kind of eluded me my freshman year from getting it. And a lot of guys hit more homers than triples if you think about it. So I would say, in my eyes, it's the triple.
So hitting for the cycle is impressive enough, but you hit a walk-off grand slam. First of all, Alex, had you ever hit a walk-off homer before Tuesday night?
Nope. That's the first. At UNF, I hit a walk-off homer to the run rule, but no tie game or being down to walk off to win the game.
How special is that? Because I know you were jacked when you hit it, but tell us how special was the walk-off grand slam?
I mean, I blacked out rounding first base. Didn't know what, it was crazy, most insane moments ever.
Alex, you're able to do this in front of your hometown crowd. I mean, in Jacksonville at the Jumbo Shrimp Stadium, you had so much family there. Was there anybody in particular that you saw on Tuesday night that was maybe more special than others?
Obviously, my parents. My dad came up to me and he's like, "We love you whether you go 0 for 4 or 4 for 4. We'll always be proud of you," before the game.
Yeah.
And so that just lets you go and play however, and just not necessarily worry about it. And my brother doesn't get to come to a lot of games, and he was able to go to the last Florida game, and I didn't do anything crazy, and he was here on Tuesday in Jacks for that game. So it was pretty awesome that he was able to be there. One more, we had a family friend that was in a tough car accident a few years ago, and huge Florida State fan, and I grew up playing baseball with his son, and he was also able to be there, and that was just awesome. To be able to give him a hug after the game was pretty special.
The thoughts of Alex Lodise, the shortstop from Florida State, also from right here in the Jacksonville area in Bartram Trail High School. I mean, just an incredible moment for him, a walk-off grand slam to complete the cycle against the arch-rival Gators. I mean, thanks so much to Alex Lodise for joining us. That was only part of our conversation that we had earlier this week. I could have played the whole thing, and it could have taken the whole show today, but we've got a lot coming up. And with that, let's welcome in Eddie Smith from D-Bat Jacks, D-Bat Green Cove, as he joins us this morning in studio here on River City Hardball, presented by D-Bat. Appreciate you jumping in, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on.
That's good. Eddie, the reason I wanted to bring someone like you in is because you're a professional instructor at D-Bat Jacks and Green Cove. Zach Phillips and Corey Warren, those guys do tremendous work with lessons in the area, whether it be baseball or softball. For those that don't know about D-Bat, you guys are an academy that teaches baseball and softball lessons. And, tell people, Eddie, a little bit about your background and kind of what you do there at D-Bat.
So D-Bat in general, we do a lot of lessons out of that, a lot of cage rentals for teams, a couple pitching machine cages for people to come in and get reps. And it's been great over the last 5 years, just becoming kind of part of the baseball community here in town. I guess my personal background is primarily as a hitting coach. 99% of my time in the cage is spent working with swings. So grew up out on the other side of the country, kind of got to use baseball to go to some, see the country,
right,
be all around it. And when baseball ended for me, was able to get into coaching, and I still get to roll out of bed every day and do baseball, and it's awesome.
One thing that we're going to do, we'll do this at the end of the show, but I was talking to Zach, who's the owner of DBAT here locally, and I said, what can we do to help you guys out a little bit and, get some people in that maybe haven't been before? And I said, what if we did this? What if we gave away a free lesson at DBAT, Jax, or Green Cove? And Zach said, that sounds good. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to give away a free hour lesson. It's good for DBAT Jax or DBAT Green Cove.
Yep.
And that's for if you have a son or a daughter that plays either baseball or softball, why don't you text us right now, 641-1010. That's 904-641-1010. If you would like to have a 1 hour free lesson for your baseball or softball player, tell us why. Give us your situation. Say, hey, my son or daughter plays at Orange Park or Clay or wherever it might be, Creekside, Bartram, and I'd like to have them come in and have a lesson with you or one of your cohorts there at DBAT Jax or Green Cove, and it's for baseball or softball. So 904-641-1010. We're going to pick somebody from the text line here today, and we're going to give away that free hour lesson at DBAT Jax or DBAT Green Cove, and that's a pretty neat deal. I mean, tell people a little bit about, Eddie, if you would, about kind of, let's just say you have a softball or a baseball player in the cage right now, and take us through the approach of what a hitting lesson looks like for you.
I think it might change a little bit depending on who the player is or their age.
Right.
We do a lot of lessons with, kids that are little leaguers, but we also have quite a few college and high school players that come in as well. And so it might depend a little bit on the player. With the younger ones, we're trying to make sure every time they come in, they leave loving the game more than when they came through the door. But we're also trying to teach the habits that they're going to need when they're older, whether that's movement patterns or approach at the plate. So just make sure that they keep loving the game and that they're learning the habits that they're going to need at a higher level when they're playing at whatever the highest level that they're going to play at.
Now, one of the cool things that many of the cool things at DBAT is that you guys have the technology to track a lot of things. Like you have the technology to track exit velocity and a lot of different things. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we do have Rapsodo. We could track exit, velo, spin, launch angle, all that, kind of let you know right where on a field a ball would have landed or where it was hit. One of my favorite things is blast. And
tell people what that is. What is blast?
So with blast, we're actually tracking the swing, how the bat is being moved, whether that's miles an hour, barrel speed, attack angle, the angles that you're coming in on the ball on, or efficiency, like how well you're turning the barrel and getting the ball on plane. And we're really able to use that to hone in on, like, why did I get the result that I liked? What did I do different that drove that ball to right center? Or what did I do different that maybe is why I didn't like that last result? And so we get to do a little bit deeper of a dive on how the player moved and how they influenced the outcome.
Ed Smith is with us. He's an instructor at DBAT Jacksonville, DBAT Green Cove. Tell us a little bit about what they offer here for the local area. If your son or daughter plays baseball or softball, we're giving away a free hour lesson with Ed. It could be somebody else there at DBAT. But we are giving away a free hour lesson. Take advantage of this now. I mean, this is a pretty neat deal. And what we want is somebody that's never done it before. If your son or daughter has never had a lesson for baseball or softball, it's in season right now, by the way. There's teams that are playing. The regular season is about to wind down here pretty soon. But, it's Florida. We play baseball and softball all year round, So this is a really cool opportunity for your son or daughter to have the instruction from the pros at DBAT. And we're giving away a free hour lesson, 904-641-1010. Text us in, your situation. Tell us about your son or daughter, and we will pick the best one. You guys have a technology that's called Rapsodo, and if you're a baseball, softball, even a golfer, I mean, they use Rapsodo for golf too. So tell people about Rapsodo and the benefits that you can use from that.
So it's tracking essentially ball flight or how the ball was hit. So the spin that's on the ball or the exit velocity, the launch angle. We do use it for pitching as well.
Right.
I won't pretend to know enough about pitching, but we have a bunch of great young instructors that do understand that on that side of it. But yeah, just a lot of ball tracking and ball flight and, where something's hit, how hard it was hit there. So it really gives you a lot of feedback that maybe sometimes you couldn't get in a cage. Maybe you got a ball well, but it hits the back of that cage 60 feet away and you want to see maybe what it would have done past that point.
So before we let you go, Ed, tell people a little bit more about DBAT. It's not just walking in there and hitting balls in a cage. It's an academy. It's a big deal. I mean, tell people a little bit. It's 13 cages here at Jackson Green Cove.
Yep.
You guys have the real baseballs and softballs, not the dimple balls that you see at like some, just other place that's not DBAT, let's just say. But, I mean, you guys have a great facility at both places. Tell people a little bit about both facilities.
Yeah, I mean, at the very baseline, it could be just coming in and taking some swings. And we have some people that do that. And we have 3 pitching machine cages, and you can just come in and get your reps. But we also have the professional coaches available, too, as well. So we have a great group of young coaches, all of which played at least college, if not pro. Very knowledgeable, and it's a chance for those coaches to get to stay in the baseball community and maybe make an impact on the next generation of ball players. We do summer camps for the younger kids when they're out of school. The private lessons, we have teams that rent the cages out and have practices in our facility kind of throughout the week. So we try to offer everything we can to help out the baseball community here, and it's been awesome being a part of it.
Yeah, and DBAT's going, 5 years strong and running here in Jacksonville, right?
Yeah, we opened right before COVID. So
What a time. What a time to open something. But you guys are thriving through it. There's a lot of people that can't say the same thing. So it's really cool. DBAT is awesome. I mean, they have 2 locations here in the local area owned by guys that we know and we've talked to many times, Zach and Corey. Corey was, played at JU. He was, part of the director of baseball ops there. Zach is from Florida. He's a guy that's been around for a long time, and just great guys to work with. I've been, partners with those guys for many years now here on the show. And they offer, 2 facilities. Powers Avenue is the Jack's location, and then Green Cove is the newest one. And a year now? It's a year plus?
Yes, just cracked a year.
Just cracked a year in the Green Cove facility over in Green Cove Springs. Before we let you go, I mean, you're a hitting instructor. Tell me this. I mean, how much has hitting changed over the years? Because nowadays with Ed, with the launch angle, that's a common phrase that's brought up a lot with college and pro. Do you guys coach launch angle? Do you instruct that? Tell me a little bit about that.
So I personally don't speak directly to it. With a lot of our coaches, I want to allow them to have the freedom to be themselves and to lean on their own experiences and their own past and what they were coached. So I don't necessarily tell every instructor what to teach or how to teach it. I think attack angle matters more. I think hitting the ball hard matters more. I certainly think there's some merit to playing the game in the air. There's 2-3 times as much room out there with half as many defensive players, but hitting the ball up the chimney from the living room sofa doesn't do a lot of good either. They get to just camp underneath it. So, ideally you want to play the game in the air, hard backspin line drives. But I do hear a lot of people maybe complain about it, or the game's changed, or all these guys are trying to do is drive it out of the park. But I blame the pitchers. They started throwing way harder. So
that's true.
It's hard to get them on, get them over.
You got to battle it. You got to come back with it some way, right?
Yeah.
I always heard, Chipper Jones, one of my favorite players growing up, and Chipper, obviously Hall of Famer, switch hitter, which is obviously very hard to do. And Chipper, the one thing I always heard him say was, Bowles guy, by the way, too. Chipper said, I always tried to strive to hit the ball through the center field wall, not over it, through the wall.
Yeah.
And so what he's talking about is hitting line drives and just hitting the ball hard everywhere.
Yeah.
And, the hard part of that too is that the defenders are really good. If you're hitting line drives, sometimes they're going to go right at somebody. But the point being is, you don't always have to strive for hitting home runs. Chipper's point was, I'm trying to hit line drives at somebody everywhere.
Well, and it's baseball. You're hitting a round ball with a round bat.
Yeah.
You're not always going to get the ball to take off like you want it to, but if you're hitting it hard, that gives you a chance. There's 9 guys with gloves out there.
Yep.
They're going to make some plays. They're trying to get you out. But if you're hitting it hard, whether it's on the ground or it's in the air, you're giving yourself a chance to maybe do a little bit more damage. So it's I do think we've gotten away from just trying to put it in play. A lot of times that just gets you thrown out at first, but personally, I'm not big with trying to lift everything all the time, but I think if you hit everything hard, you're giving yourself a chance.
DBAT Jacksonville, DBAT Green Cove, we're giving away a free 1-hour lesson with Ed Smith or with any of his his coworkers there that are trainers, instructors at the DBAT Jacks or DBAT Green Cove facilities here in the local area. Tell people how they can get in touch with you guys. I know dbatjacks.com is the website. Tell people how they can get in touch with you and how they should go about it.
Yeah. So I really should know our number off the top of my head, and I don't, but
right.
it will be on the website as well. We also have social media pages, Facebook and Instagram as well. They can reach out. Our front desk is they're trained to ask some questions, find out exactly what it is you guys are looking for, and get you with the best coach that fits your needs. And we'd love to work with you guys.
The Jacks location number is 904-518-5915, and you can find all this information on the website, and Google's a trusty thing as well. Most people know how to use that these days. But yeah. Ed Smith from DBAT Jacks, DBAT Green Cove, thanks so much for coming in. Yeah. We've got a lot of submissions here on the text line. We're going to pick the best one at the end of the show. My son Carson is an 8U. He's in St. Augustine. Would love to have a lesson. My name is Parker. Would love to have a lesson. My son's name is PJ. He's 7 years old, plays in Jacks Beach at the rec level. I mean, we got a bunch of guys that want in on this free lesson, so we're going to give that away at the end of the show. Ed, thanks for coming in. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
There's Ed Smith from DBAT Jacks, DBAT Green Cove. He's a pro instructor. Go check them out at DBAT Jacksonville and DBAT Green Cove. We got a timeout when we come back. A guy that's a DBAT alum, I think. One of the kids from Creekside. We'll tell you a little bit about him and more when we come back here on River City Hardball, presented by DBAT.
There's a reason why people love to listen to play-by-play on the radio.
This is unbelievable what we're witnessing. I'm serious.
1010XL, Jacksonville's home for play-by-play.
Jags fans, here's your chance to score a trip to Green Bay for round one of draft night. Through the Everbank Draft Night Experience Sweepstakes, one lucky winner and a guest will be there live and in person to see the Jaguars make their first pick. To enter, visit everbank.com/draft by April 4th. That's everbank.com/draft. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to legal residents of the United States and D.C. 18 and older. Entry period from 3/3/25 to 4/4/25. For official rules, prize description, odds of winning, and other details, visit everbank.com/draft. Sponsored and administrator, Everbank N.A.
ET here, and it's time for the Taste of Golf at TPC Sawgrass, April 23rd. Join me for fine cuisine from chefs from the top golf clubs in our area. Craft cocktails, games, and unique auction items will be present. This is one of the most impactful charitable events in our area. Come network with a sophisticated audience who's passionate about golf and its values, while impacting the youth in our community. All proceeds benefit First Tee, North Florida. For tickets, go to tasteofgolf.com. Come on, somebody.
Where is the deepest canyon in the United States?
Filing an insurance claim following a storm shouldn't be an ordeal. Southern Oak Insurance's claim team prepares for catastrophic situations well in advance. Log on to southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
The deepest canyon in the United States is Hell's Canyon along the Oregon and Idaho border, about 8,000 feet deep at some point.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Learn more about the beautiful game of soccer and its impact on the River City.
What a beautiful thing to behold.
Get an hour of soccer talk on the Sporting Jack Soccer Hour.
That's all I want to know.
Tuesday at 6 p.m. on 1010 a.m.
Tired of seeing the signs of aging? Spring is here, a time to renew. I'm Dr. Mark Capel, a board-certified dermatologist, here to help you look and feel your best with minimal to no downtime. Rejuvenate your skin, strengthen your core, and sculpt your body with advanced face and body treatments designed to restore your youthful glow and confidence. Just in time for spring and summer. A healthier, more fit you starts now. Visit dermagnify.com and step into spring looking and feeling your best.
Lauren Brooks here for Terminix. When pests invade your home or business, you don't just need them out, you need them out fast. And you need to keep them out. At Terminix, they'll show up for you and eliminate pests quicker, just like they did at my house, because they care about what matters most to you. When pests show up, so does Terminix. Don't live with a pest problem, Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com. That's right, Terminix it.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. River City Hardball, presented by D-Bat Jacksonville on 1010XL.
We welcome you back here to River City Hardball. I'm your host, Andrew Gibson, and what a pleasure it is right now to welcome in one of the standouts here in the Jacksonville area of high school baseball from the Creekside Knights. Connor Belizik joins us right now in studio, and we've got his head coach on the line as well, Coach Chris King, and we'll get to him in just a second. But, Connor, thanks for jumping in the studio this morning. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. I mean, you're swinging the ball pretty well, man. Did I hear 5 home runs already this year? Now, 1 was preseason, but I would count that one too. So 4 in the regular season. Tell us about kind of the year you've had so far with Creekside.
Yeah, so I came into this year with a lot of confidence. Had a good summer, so kind of carried it on from there. I've done a lot of stuff to my swing from the guys over at Gradam and DBAT.
Mm-hmm.
They've really helped me out a lot, so made sure to keep that going into this year.
We've got Coach Chris King, the head coach of Creekside, on the line with us as well this morning. Coach King, thanks for joining us. How are you?
I'm great, sir. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Good. Tell us a little bit about Connor and the season that he's having. He told us from his perspective, but what about from you, the eyes of the head coach?
Absolutely. He's been an absolute general for us, taking initiative, getting the guys rallied behind him. He puts in unbelievable work ethic as well. I mean, from the gym to the cages to the, working on his craft. He's been a professional in everything he's done. So I'm very pleased with him, and he continues to grow every day, so it's great to watch.
Coach, you mentioned the growth that you've seen from Connor. I mean, give us some specific areas that you've seen some growth from Connor.
The biggest thing is just mentally his approach at the plate and what he does preparing before and after every at-bat. I mean, Connor goes back, he journals everything he does. It's actually something I used to do, too, as a player, where after an at-bat, you look at certain tendencies that pitchers throw, and then, what defenses are doing to you as a player, and it lets you go back and adjust. And that's one of the biggest things. I think it's been a huge contribution to what he's done at the plate, especially this season. So,
Connor, tell me and tell our audience a little bit about what it's like playing at Creekside. What's it like playing for Coach King?
Playing at Creekside, it's been awesome. The coach we got, all the coaches, and then the players, we show a lot of energy on the field, and we like to stay positive the whole time. We got some hard heads, but, we need that on the team, so always keeping us in check whenever we're down.
Connor, I'm looking at the week that you guys had. You guys had a really good week. I mean,
Yes, sir.
3 straight wins. You beat Bowles. And now this is Max Prep. Sometimes it can be a little bit off. But, Coach, was it 13-2 you guys beat Bowles?
yes, sir.
Wow. I mean, that's impressive. Tell us about the win against Bowles.
Connor, you want to talk to him about it?
Yeah, Connor, go ahead, man.
So we came into that game off a tough loss to Spruce Creek after we beat them the first time. So we were definitely going into that game with a chip on our shoulder to go win the week. And we did. We came out hot with the bats, and our defense played good. Our pitcher shoved, and then defense little lackadaisical at the end, but got the dub and carried it on through the week.
Now, beating a team like Bowles, I mean, that's, you guys know the history of Bowles. Chip, we just talked about Chipper Jones. Chipper played there. Had some great players, great coaches throughout the years. I mean, that win right there, Coach, has to maybe resonate a little bit more, does it?
Yes, absolutely. And I admire what Coach Boss does over there, and it's always one for me as a coach. I try hard to win that game every time we play them. So, and, the opportunity we had with the boys came out playing the right way, and there hasn't been much letdown from these guys in the last few weeks, where they keep every day. They come out and just keep grinding and do everything they can to get on top.
Now, in this 3-game winning streak, Connor, what have been some of your highlights? Have you hit any home runs in this three-game stretch?
Not this week. I've just been barreling up the balls. I'm picking up what the pitchers are throwing early and often. Mm-hmm. I see what they're doing to me in my at-bats after I journal them, so it's like I go into that at-bat knowing what they threw me last time and knowing that I was all over their stuff. So it's definitely mental, and I see the ball really well. So I see it, and I don't miss it.
We're having a segment here with the Creekside Knights. Coach Chris King of the Knights. They're 13-7 this year. They've won 3 games in a row, including a victory earlier last week against Bowles. Connor Belzic is with us, a catcher in the studio as well. So we got a coach on the phone and a player in the studio. So we got Creekside covered here. You guys also beat Coach St. Joe and Clay. Tell us about those 2 victories as well this week.
Kind of the same setup against St. Joe's. The guys came out playing, swinging the bats pretty hot, and it just continued on. And then we get into Clay, and that's what the Spencer does over there at Clay is just absolutely phenomenal. It's always a great rivalry for us. Going up against those guys, we came out and they scored in the first inning on us, and Connor actually stopped the first inning. They had a little rally going, bases loaded. Backdoors the guy at first base to get us out of that inning, and then on base, he stole second, stole third, and seen a ball drop, and he's scoring to tie the game up. And then it just, we punched 2 more across later on in the game and never stopped. So, Gavin threw very well for us that day, and our pitching's been phenomenal, which is great, and the guys that come in behind him have helped out tremendously. So.
Coach, final question before we let you go. I know you're on the road coming back to Jacksonville, but the April schedule, man, it doesn't let up. You got Lowndes coming up, Beachside, St. John's Country Day, Bishop Kenny, just to name a few as you guys begin the April schedule here.
Yes, and that was one of the biggest things I tried to put together this year was I wanted a tough schedule, and I think we kind of accomplished that part. Strength of schedule, I think, might be first or second highest in the state. So, I'm pretty happy with that, and the guys have responded very well. We took a couple lumps from some teams, but, I think it built more character for these guys as we embark into the postseason here soon, hopefully.
Chris King, the head coach of Creekside. Coach, thanks for a few minutes here this afternoon. We appreciate it, and thanks for having one of your guys come in with us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us. I appreciate you guys.
All right, Chris King, the head coach of Creekside. The Knights are 13-7. They've won 3 games in a row, and Connor Belzic is still joining us in studio. Connor, tell me about the season. How has the season gone from your perspective? I mean, 13 wins at this point is very good. How do you feel about how your season's gone?
Right now, I feel great about how the season's going. Team's really pulling through right now after a tough schedule, and we all saw it at the beginning. We were like, all right, this is going to be a hard year, and our coach even said if we go 500, we're set for the playoffs. So we're way overachieved right now for this schedule, and we're going to keep going and beat over 500 for the wins and losses.
We just had Ed Smith from DBAT on. You've trained at DBAT before. What was your experience like there?
My experience was great over there. A lot of great guys. I loved them. Unfortunately, got out of that little jam there. Kind of went through a slump when I was over there, and I decided to take some time off.
Okay.
Worked with myself, fixed my craft, and worked by myself for a while, and then I always go hit over there sometimes. But, yeah, they were great, awesome guys. They were always there for me, especially Corey Warren. He was my catching coach over there, did a lot of stuff to me, and that's one of my main key points for me in baseball, and he's helped me a lot over the years.
Tell me about your choice of baseball, because do you play any other sports, or is baseball your primary sport?
Baseball is my primary sport. I played a little bit of football in middle school, but that's about it.
What made your selection of baseball? Like what made you as a younger kid choose baseball over, say, football?
I was just raised around baseball a lot. My dad was a golfer, so I've always been swinging something. So when I started playing baseball, it was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. And I played flag football a little bit when I was younger, but wasn't really as interested in it as baseball.
Now, did you have, growing up, and obviously growing up, you're a sophomore in high school, so you're still growing up, that's for sure. But speaking of baseball, growing up around the game, did you have anybody that you, like a favorite player or favorite team or anything like that?
I'm a Braves fan.
Same here.
Yeah,
we're struggling, man. We're 0-3. And
rough start.
We're also 1 for 22 with runners in scoring position. That ain't going to get it done.
Yeah, but I've always grown up in a Georgia household. Me and my dad are the only Georgia fans in our family. So
y'all enjoyed that sweep over the Gators, right?
That was awesome.
We were actually talking about that off the air. So I didn't realize Georgia baseball was that good this year. You guys are really good this year.
We're coming back this year. We didn't end up the way we did last year, so we're coming out swinging.
All right, let me ask you this. So if you're a Braves fan, and how old are you, 14, 15?
16.
You're 16. All right, so I was a little bit off. Now, this is going to tell your age and my age. Do you have like a favorite Braves player? Like anybody that you go back to and like I watched him growing up?
Right now, I'd say just Ronald Acuna.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah.
You got to love him.
Yeah, I'm not really the type to watch a lot of baseball. I'm normally a college baseball guy. I like watching those. Those games are way more fun to watch, in my opinion. But, yeah, definitely I'd say Acuna.
Yeah, Acuna is, and actually we're going to have a doc come on here in a few minutes. Dr. Lance Snyder from Southeast Orthopedic Specialist. We're going to talk about Acuna because he's coming back from 2 ACLs. Mm-hmm. He had the first one a couple years ago, and now last year tore his other one. So let's see if he becomes the same player. But Connor, as we let you go, I mean, we were just talking to Coach King about the rest of the season. You guys have. You just beat Clay. You just beat St. Joe and Bowles for your 3 wins in a row. But as we mentioned with Coach King, you got Lowndes coming up on Wednesday. Then you play at home against Beachside, and then you go on the road to St. John's Country Day and Bishop Kenny. So it's going to be a heck of a schedule coming up in April.
Yes, sir. It's definitely something we're looking forward to. You know, we're hot right now. We got a 3-game win streak going, and last time we had that, we decided to keep winning until we took a tough loss to Spruce in the Daytona Championship. But yeah, we're coming out looking for dominance against these teams.
So you have 5 total home runs this year as a catcher. Catchers, there are some catchers that hit for power, like Cal Raleigh, who played at Florida State. He just got a big contract extension. He hits for a lot of power. There's some guys that definitely do, but like a power hitting catcher, I mean, that's impressive. I feel like that's going to get you places. Now you're only a sophomore, but is college baseball something that you're thinking about?
100%.
All right, that's awesome. Well, you're definitely on your way to that. You still got high school to enjoy, and that's the biggest thing is enjoy high school. College is going to take care of itself down the road, and I think you're going to be swinging in the college ranks here in a couple of years. But Connor Belzic from Creekside High School, he's the catcher. He's smashing the ball wherever they play. Again, their next game comes up on Wednesday at home against Lowndes. They're coming from Georgia. That'll be a 5:30 first pitch over at Creekside. Hey, man, thanks for coming in the studio. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
And before I let you go, I'm actually going to give you something on the air right now. This is something new that we're doing this week. You ever heard of Serafina's Pizza? It's like right down the road from where you guys are, right? Here's $25 to Serafina's Pizza. Enjoy that. Your dad might take you there after the show today.
Yep.
So it's right down the street from Creekside. They are big supporters of Creekside. I know the owner, Vinny, over there is a huge baseball guy. He's a Mets guy. He's out of his mind about Juan Soto. So, hey, man, thank you for coming in. Enjoy that pizza from Serafina's. Thanks, Connor.
Thank you again.
Connor Belzic from Creekside High School, Coach King from Creekside as well. Thanks to them for joining us here on River City Hardball. When we come back, the aforementioned Dr. Lance Snyder, Southeast Orthopedic Specialist. We're going to dive into some injuries and hear from the doc in just a moment here on River City Hardball, brought to you by DBAT Jacksonville and DBAT Green Cove.
Get to know positions and players. The 1010XL Ultimate Draft Guide is brought to you by Blue Haven Pools, the #1 pool builder in Jacksonville. Follow rankings and roundtables as the draft takes shape. Go to 1010XL.com/2025 draft guide to get yours.
Bueller, stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey man, what's that noise?
Do you hear it too? You can hear it, right?
Yeah, it's your air conditioner. It's like a grinding or a rattling.
And it's getting on your nerves, right? Like it's eating at your brain and you can't think straight, but it just keeps grinding and squeaking and taunting and nagging. You're not good enough. You're a failure. Why can't you be more like your sister, the lawyer?
Yeah, I don't hear that last part so much.
Yeah, but it's not cool, right, Jason?
It could definitely be cooler. At Bueller Air and Plumbing, we can totally repair whatever that noise is and get your AC working smoothly and silently. We fix these things all the time.
So I won't be a failure?
Life should be enjoyed. If some irritating, broken air conditioner is making you crazy, you could miss it.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
One thing that separates Beard's Diamonds from those other jewelry stores at the town center, no one's paid on commission.
Nobody at Beard's is on commission. That's more of your corporate stores that pay commission.
Beard's owner, John Lupo, says that means no pressure, no hidden agenda, no extra markups.
And you're getting a better deal. You're not paying the corporate commission. You're not paying the salesperson's commission. But if they're paying your salespeople commission, you're starting off in a hole.
And that's why you feel like a number at most jewelry stores, because it's all about making the sale, but not not at Beard's.
Because it's a corporate atmosphere and they want to sell you what they want to sell you. We're here to sell you what you want. Our salespeople can do whatever they want to make sure that the customer is happy.
So relax. At Beard's Diamonds, they have all the things you want, like quality education, selection, warranties, and none of the stuff you don't want, like pressure and tacked-on commissions.
Nobody's making an extra 5 or 10% on Beard's customers.
Beard's Diamonds, the town center's only locally owned jeweler.
We sell better merchandise, better product for less money, guaranteed.
Have you tried golfing at the improved Cimarron Golf Club? If you haven't, tell you what, you're missing out on the best deal in Jacksonville. Now, many of you have received a postcard in the mail, and of course, if you bring that with you, $45 plus tax to play. That includes a cart, lunch, and a beer at the brand new Stone Barrel Tap House. Now, go to the website, that is CimarronGolfClub.com, and sign up for the Wild One Loyalty Program. That's the Wild One Loyalty Program, and get all of these specials emailed to you from Cimarron.
Where electrifying moments come to life.
Inside of a minute to play.
And legendary performances lead.
A monumental milestone in a legendary career.
1010XL. The power of Jacksonville Sports Radio.
If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Miller Electric Company. Apply today at millercareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
I need new rotors.
When you buy 2 Duralast rotors during our spring sale, you get Duralast brake pads free.
Free?
With the rotors.
Well, that's great. What if I need extra stopping power?
You can upgrade to Duralast Gold pads for just $10.
So Duralast pads are free?
Yep.
And an upgrade is just $10?
That's right. Part of the spring sale at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville, River City Hardball. Presented by D-Bat Jacksonville on 1010XL.
Welcome you back here to River City Hardball on a Sunday afternoon. This is our March edition. I'm your host, Andrew Gibson. We do the show once a month covering baseball in the Jacksonville area, high school, college, pro. It was awesome to have 2 representatives from Creekside High School, Coach Chris King and also Connor Belizik joined us, the catcher with 5 home runs already this year. Big Braves fan, so he's got even more bonus points with me. So best of luck to Creekside. 13 wins already. They've won 3 games in a row, and they continue their season against Lowndes out of Georgia on Wednesday at 5:30 over at Creekside High School. And let's bring in one of our friends as well to the program. Dr. Lance Snyder from Southeast Orthopedic Specialist joins us. We're going to talk a little bit about injuries at the Major League level as Major League Baseball opening weekend of MLB. It began for everybody else besides the Dodgers on Thursday. But, Doc, how are you this afternoon? Appreciate you joining.
We're doing great. It's a great afternoon and excited to talk some baseball.
Yes, sir. It's baseball season at every level now. Everybody's playing now. So, Doc, I want to get into some injuries with you about Major League Baseball, and I want to focus on a couple of guys from the area teams that are of interest, the Braves and the Rays in particular, and I might throw in something with the Marlins with your affiliation there at the end. But let's begin with the Braves because Spencer Strider is the ace, and I know that Chris Sale won the Cy Young Award last year, but Spencer Strider's the ace of the Braves, and he had Tommy John back in college at Clemson, but last year they thought he was going to have Tommy John again, but Doc, he went an alternate route and got what's called the internal brace procedure. Now, this is not the same thing necessarily as Tommy John, but you're the expert. Doc, tell people about what is the internal brace procedure.
Well, it was designed by Dr. Jeff Dugas, and there's a couple of companies that have come up with some really strong suture that's been woven several thousand times, and it's incredibly strong. I always joke that you can pull a boat with it. And so basically they've taken some screws that most likely are, for lack of a better term, plastic or bioabsorbable. And then they put these screws into the area of attachment of the ligament, and they are connected by this strong cord. And it acts just like an internal framework in the ligament, and provides some relief for the ligament and provides some strength for the ligament. So that's basically the internal brace procedure.
And Spencer Strider underwent this procedure last spring, and he's projected to come back to the Braves in I would think late April or thereabout. He actually went through a AAA start this week, and Strider struck out 6 guys and looked like Strider. So how different is this procedure than, let's just say, general Tommy John? Is it tell people maybe the difference between that, if there is much of a difference?
Well, traditional Tommy John was described by Frank Jobe back in the 70s, and it's reconstructing the ulnar claw ligament, taking another ligament out of the wrist and forearm that you don't really need, and creating tunnels in the area of the UCL, and kind of bolstering it with this accessory ligament. But you have to let the body heal. You have to let the body have the ligament kind of reabsorb and grow back into the other ligament. And it takes some time. It takes some time to return from, and it takes anywhere from 12 to 15 months, and some would say 2 years, to really regain your form after Tommy John surgery. So this internal brace is quite an advancement, because it seems to get people back much faster.
Yeah, because Strider's coming up on a year removed from having Tommy John, I believe, and I mean he's going to come back in at least a year's amount of time. A lot, like you said, some guys it takes them 14, 18 months to recover from a Tommy John, but with his being in the internal brace. So I'm gonna ask you like a basic, just people listening that don't have any idea what we're talking about. So is the reason that he went this route versus traditional Tommy John, is that to come back quicker? Is that to maybe say, hey, maybe I don't have to have this procedure again because the suture is so strong? What are your feelings on that?
So that's very interesting, Andrew, because we know from studies that it seems at the professional major league level and UCL reconstruction, Tommy John surgery is on the rise. And it seems to be growing anywhere at the major league level from 6 to 9% per year. About 35% of professional pitchers will have Tommy John surgery. The reconstruction lasts on average about 4.9 years, so about 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so he had reconstruction in 2019, and so it's about this time that the reconstruction is starting to wear out. And I didn't see his MRI for
right
exactly. I do know the doctor who performed it is an excellent doctor, Dr. Keith Meister, who was at UF Gainesville and has now moved on to Dallas. So I believe that there was some damage to the graft, there was some damage to the native ligament, and it had stretched out, and he was having some forearm pain. He actually had a start, did okay, and then had another start, and then they decided that he needed to have this surgery. So they went ahead and almost, I think they kind of did it preparatively, in a sense, to try to prevent a full-blown rupture. And so they went in, and so he's had UCL reconstruction, now internal brace on top of that. So that's interesting.
It certainly is. Dr. Lance Snyder is with us from Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. He's an orthopedic surgeon, practices with many different areas. You've done the internal brace a few times, right? I mean, you've done this procedure.
Yes, I have. It's honestly, technically, it's much easier than doing a Tommy John reconstruction.
So why is that? Why is it easier? And is that maybe the reason that Strider went for it? Is it easier?
Yeah, it is easier, Andrew. There's 2 points of contact. The equipment made it. A couple of the companies have made it very easy to perform in hands that do it a lot, and it just the equipment itself, and the fact that there's limited risk of fracture and nerve damage, and just the points of fixation have made it fairly easy to perform.
So last thing on Strider's internal brace, and I want to get to some other ones before I let you go real quick. But so in a general sense, is the internal brace, is that the suture, the stitch that you talked about that's been woven thousands of times, is that going in place of the torn ligament? Is that right, or is that not correct?
Yeah, it's basically put on top and then sewn into the ligament.
I see.
Yeah.
So the thought is that this thing is basically indestructible, and I'm not going to have another procedure. Is that maybe the positive outlook?
That's certainly the hope. That's
right.
We don't know the long-term benefits. We've only been doing this for, the last couple of years, and so we don't know long-term if this is going to hold up. We certainly hope it will. What's interesting now, Andrew, is some of the surgeons are putting a graft in there and then putting the internal brace in there, almost like a seatbelt type situation. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes. And of course, we have to decide what kind of picture it is, what kind of where we're going to put the arm in terms of the angle of placing the brace. So there's all these kind of mechanical factors that kind of go into the thing.
If this works the way that the Braves and Spencer Strider, hopes that it does, I mean, is this like the future of, procedures for guys that, hey, they've told me I need Tommy John, but I'm going to go do the internal brace instead? I mean, is that like the future that we're looking at?
Quite possibly, Andrew. That's insightful. Yeah, it's very possible that that's the way we're going. There's about 5 or 6 guys that have had Tommy John recently, and are now having some problems, and they're almost putting that internal brace in kind of preparatively, kind of, hoping that they don't need a full-blown Tommy John in the future. So it's pretty interesting right now.
So that's the thought of Dr. Lance Snyder, Southeast Orthopedic Specialist. Really interesting topic on Spencer Strider, not going with the traditional Tommy John like he had at Clemson. There have been guys that have had it multiple times and still tried to pitch. I mean, Nathan Eovaldi for Texas, he's had it twice, and he's still going strong. He was terrific on opening day the other day, and after 2 Tommy Johns, so it definitely can happen. But Strider going with the internal brace in a fascinating process to see how this goes for him, and Braves fans can cross their fingers and hopes that it works, and he'll be the same Spencer Strider. But speaking of guys that you hope are the same, so Ronald Acuna is supposed to come back sometime. I believe the timeline is somewhere around May. Docky's coming off from another torn ACL. He's now torn it in both knees. Ronald is a very dynamic baseball player, can steal a ton of bases. He's a fast guy, plays in the outfield. Coming off of a second torn ACL, Doc, how can Braves fans expect Ronald Acuna to look when he gets back here in the late spring?
Great question, Andrew. I don't see any reason why he can't come back. It's rare to tear your ACL. He's a great athlete. He was, at the time, I believe, of his first ACL tear, he was the fastest outfielder in Major League Baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's just no reason why he wouldn't, he probably had a great surgeon, and he'll probably do very, very well. It's very common to tear your other ACL once tearing one ACL. It happens about 30% of the time. So it's not uncommon for this to have happened.
So the first one he tore, it was his right knee in 21, and then he tore his left knee ACL in 24 last May. So you don't think that there's going to be lingering effects from the second ACL? You think he'll be pretty much what he's been?
I think so. You look at the NFL data, and certainly, a lot of the kids that are drafted have had an ACL reconstruction. It doesn't interfere with longevity of career. It doesn't interfere with speed, typically. These guys are quite fast and can get back to being very fast.
Well, that's great. I mean, this is from a doctor perspective, on an orthopedic surgeon's perspective on what Ronald Acuna we can expect to see him. I think the timeline is what the Braves are saying is kind of a moving target a little bit with some of these injuries, but it looks like May is going to be the potential return for Acuna, and Braves fans can't wait to see him back on the field. Last one before I let you go. This was kind of a scary one for Shane McClanahan. He's a pitcher, the ace of the Tampa Bay Rays, had to come out of a start the last of spring And, he's had Tommy John now twice, and he exited with an arm injury, and we're thinking, oh, no, this could be really bad. Well, it came back that he has like a nerve issue with his left tricep. What are your thoughts initially on that for McClanahan?
Yeah, that's not it's not great news, but it's not the worst news.
Right.
The ulnar nerve comes in the back of the elbow, and it comes into the tunnel right next to where the UCL reconstruction was, the Tommy John surgery was. And then it goes down and provides sensation on the inside of the forearm, the funny bone, and then it provides motor control for those last two fingers, which are really important in pitching and elbow or wrist flexion and so forth. And so it's not uncommon to irritate that nerve with a throwing motion and throwing mechanics. It is a little worrisome having had the surgery, as you pointed out.
Mm-hmm.
There may be some scar tissue. Typically, it's tethered in that area and can get compressed by the muscle or scar tissue in this instance. And it may be related to the surgeries, and he may have to have a decompression type surgery, which is not as bad as having Tommy John surgery.
Okay.
He would be able to come back from that. I've had to do that multiple times, and almost all the athletes can come back from that.
So you would think, last question before I let you go, you would think that McClanahan, the Rays fans, should probably be able to see him at some point this year.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Great stuff. Dr. Lance Snyder, Southeast Orthopedic Specialist. Always appreciate your time, and thank you for joining.
Andrew, you're the best. We didn't get to the Alcantara, but anyway.
Next time.
Next time. You're the best.
All right,
Have
Doc.
a great day.
You too. Thank you, Dr. Lance Snyder, Southeast Orthopedic Specialist. Thanks for joining us, and thank you for being with us. We'll pick a winner for our DBAT free lesson here in just a moment, and we'll let you know who that is. Let's go ahead and give it away right now. PJ will be in touch with you. 682. You're the winner of the free lesson to DBAT. Thanks to all of our guests from Creekside, Connor Belizick, Coach Chris King, and thanks to everybody for joining us. Thank you, Dylan Denmark, for producing the show. This is River City Hardball, presented by DBAT Jacks on 1010XL.
Take a radio boat ride.